Hello, this is Dr. Strain. I'm going to show you some of the ways you can use the features available at an IPython prompt to explore what your Python code is doing and how Python works under the hood. Okay, first I'm going to show you the whos command, the %whos command. This is one of Python's many code magics. So actually, let me show you how to find out about the magics first. Just go to an IPython prompt and then type magic. And it will take you into a program called a pager that has this documentation on IPython's magic functions. You can scroll through the pager by hitting the space button to go forward, or space bar to go forward, or the B button to go backwards, and Q will quit. If you're familiar with Vim, which is a command line editor for Linux, some of the commands from Vim will work in the pager. But in any event, we can talk about pagers later. The docs on magics is long. You can read it at your leisure. Let me go ahead and show you how whos works. So that's %whos. Since it's a magic, it starts with the %. And what it does is it shows you what's in the namespace. And right now, we just started IPython, so the interactive namespace is empty. But I'm going to run the first code example from the error meeting summary, which I have previously stored in a file named code example. So I can do this by typing run code, actually sample, not example, and hit return. And now I can see the code's output followed by another prompt. If I enter whos again, then I see that I now have three objects. Three new objects, and heroes and villains. That looks interesting. They are of type list, and the data info says n equals 4, whatever that means. Well, I can look inside just like so. I type heroes and hit return, and it shows me the contents in the output. Now the square brackets means it's a list, and I already knew it was a list from the whos command, but it also shows me that the list contains 4 things. That must be what the n equals 4 means. And I know that these things are strings because I know that strings in Python start and end with a quotation mark. But there's another way I could find out that they were strings. So with any list in Python, I can also use the square brackets for indexing, and that looks like this. So I put types heroes, the name of my list, and then square brackets, and I put a 0 inside, and 0 will give me the first element in the list. Here, if I do 1, it will give me the second element. It's important to never forget that Python indexing always starts at 0. Okay, so if heroes 0 gives me Dr. Strange, then I can pass that as an argument to Python's built-in function type, and this tells me that it's indeed a string, which is what str stands for. While I'm at it, I can also pass heroes the whole thing to type, and it tells me what this is a list, but I already knew that. Okay, so next topic I want to tell you about is called tab completion. And this is a feature of IPython. It's also used in many Linux utilities. It's a great feature. It gives you a way to save a lot of time. But in IPython, you can also combine it with something called the dot operator. And then it also gives you ways to find out information about Python objects. So first I'll show you tab completion. Then I'll show you how it works with the dot operator. So let's take a look at villains. If I type the first few letters, for instance, VIL, and then hit tab, you can see that the IPython interpreter automatically completes the name of the variable for me. This saves me some typing. Now the completion only happens when there's no ambiguity, but in this case there's only one thing in the workspace that starts with VIL. So it completes with just VIL. But now let me put another thing in the workspace that has VIL at the beginning. I will call it vilify and set it equal to 1. And now I can type whos and see that vilify is in there. That's an int and says it's equal to 1. If I try typing VIL and hit tab now, it shows me a different result. There are two possibilities because VIL is no longer unambiguous. But if I then type another L and then hit tab, it will complete because there's only one thing beginning with VILL. Okay, so now we're ready to talk about the dot operator. The dot operator is a way to get inside of a Python object and get under the hood, so to speak. Let's take a look at heroes and add the dot operator. Now, when I hit the tab button, look at all these choices. What happened is that the interpreter is now showing me all the valid ways I can complete the phrase heroes dot. So what are all these things? Well, it turns out that they are methods that are built into Python's list class. So I'm going to apply the type function to one of these. Let's say heroes append. I just type the A and hit tab complete, and it gives it to me. And it says that it's a built-in name or function. Now what if I try something else like the range function that was used in the example code? Yep, same thing. So here we're starting to find out that a method is a function that's built into another object or code. It has to be accessed by the dot operator. If it needs the dot operator in front of it, it's called a method. If it doesn't, it's just a function. So what does the heroes dot append method do? Well, here's another Python trick. Heroes dot append question mark. Whenever I put the question mark in an IPython prompt, the interpreter will try to tell me what the thing is, what the object is, and how to use it if it's something you can use. So here it tells me that I can use this method to append an object to the end of heroes. So let me append another string that's the name of another hero. I could append any object I want to, but I want to append the name of another hero. So that's what I'm going to do. All right, Iron Man, and now we can see that heroes has Iron Man at the end.